Hello, welcome. I'm Pauline from PQW, and I'd love to share with you how we've made our beautiful animal playtime quilt that's behind me. So I'm going to take you over to the quilt. I'm going to explain a few things to you. Then I'm going to just come back and show you what you get in your pack when you buy the animal playtime pack from us. So now it is just a beautiful quilt. We designed it with very, very simple shapes. Just circles, triangles, squares, rectangles, just the basic everyday shapes that we use in life. We've made it as a quilt as you go quilt. So what we've done first is we quilt the background squares, and I'll explain that to you in a moment. We've then traced all of our shapes. Now you're going to get a pack of templates for all of these different shapes in with the pattern. We'll show you how to use those. We then glue the pieces in place with the Roxanne glue basted. If you've never used that, it is absolutely fantastic. I like it better than using the double-sided fusible web because I don't want any stiffness once I've done my quilting. Then we stitch it down, and then we've joined the whole quilt together using one of my Quilt as you go techniques. Now, all of my techniques for Quilt as you go is in my Quilt as you go book, so have a look out for that because it holds some great information. But you can make this quilt any size you want. We've set it on point, so it's very easy to follow the instructions that come with the pattern pack. You know, it's just a fun thing. And once you start working with the shapes, it's a great thing that you can get your, you know, if you've got grandchildren, if you've got young children yourself or nieces or nephews, let them use the templates to draw animal shapes and let them be part of the process of making this quilt. Now, the back of the quilt, we've used all different fabrics on the back of each block, remember? We quilt the fabric first, so we'll put our 3 layers together, we will quilt. And then when we join it together, you can use all different fabrics on the back, so you have a totally reversible quilt. And it's so much fun. You know, you might be able to write a story about each animal on the back of the quilt and get the children that you love and adore to help you write a story about each one of the animals. So let's get started and just give you a brief overview. So with this pack, you get the pattern. You get a full set of template shapes. Now, all of these shapes in here will make any style of animal that you want to produce, not just the ones that we've put into the quilt. There's lots of other animal shapes and lots of other appliques that you can use these shapes for. Now, to understand how to use the appliques and the templates, in here we give you a sheet that has all of our different animals that we've designed up. So just a gorgeous little sheet, and you can make so many different animals. Some of the animals that are on here are not yet on the quilt. And we have all of these animals. So you can have so much fun. They're just simple, basic shapes. Now, to understand how to use those templates, we have a template layout sheet. So where you see the grayed in areas, that's the template. We'll just pull one out here. Now, if I use this green template, it's going to be template A, which is this one here. So from that template A, you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 different templates. So just work with your pattern sheet, because on the pattern sheet we have all the letters of the template that you're to use. Refer to your pattern sheet, trace your design onto fabric, cut it out, and then you start putting it together. Now, a little hint with tracing your shapes onto your fabric, I'm going to use the sandpaper part of my workboard. I get my fabric out. I'll use this big triangle. Now, I use the sandpaper because I don't want the fabric to stretch as I draw around the shape. And for one of the animals I'm going to create, I need the outside area of this template. So we're just going to draw, and you can see the fabric's not stretching as I trace around. Oops, just moved it a bit. Then you cut out that shape, and then you do that with every animal, cut out all your shapes. Let those children help you decide the colours that they would love to use. You know, make it fun. Write a story as you go. Add the story to the quilt, as I said before. It just makes it so much fun to get the young children involved. And it's a quilt that you could teach to any young child because it gets them started with loving the passion of creating and sewing. So now, here we have our fabric already quilted. I've put the back and the batting and the top layer on, and we've just quilted lines. They're not even straight, they're not consistently the same distance apart. It's just about getting you started. If you're not quilted before, this is just a very simple way of doing it. Once we've done that, we've cut out all of our shapes. So we've used the templates that I just showed you how to use. We've cut out all the shapes. Then we've laid the design out. So you can see we've got different size circles. Oops, we might have to put his little eyes differently. We've got different size triangles. We've got little rectangles. Nothing is hard about this. Now what we do next is, once we've got that all laid out, we use the Roxanne glue basted, this fabulous glue. We just simply put little dots of glue under all of the pieces. You don't need a lot of glue, you just need little tiny drops of it. Glue it all in place and then press it with a hot iron. Once you've pressed it with the hot iron, here we have the little elephant, isn't he gorgeous? Just press it and then we're ready to stitch this on. Now you can blanket stitch it by hand, but I wouldn't take the threads right through to the back of the fabric because you don't want to see that blanket stitch on the back. What we do is we blanket stitch by machine, and I use a variegated thread on the top or a normal thread, and then I put the mono poly clear thread in my bobbin. If you've never used that thread, please give it a try. It's just beautiful. Stitch it all down, and then we're going to put the quilt together, quilt as you go. And in the pattern, it instructs you how to do that. Or you can watch one of our other YouTube videos and watch the YouTube video in the between the block technique of how I put my quilts together. And you'll learn all about how to put it together. But to make our sashings, I've cut a piece of fabric 3.5 inches wide. I'm going to fold it in and in till it meets. Now we need to make a lot of these strips to cover all the seams when we do it quilt as you go. So if you don't already know about it, I'm the designer of the Sasha collections. Now to use these tools, I'm going to use the 1 3/4 inch tool and the 1/2 inch tool. So the measurement on the top is finished size. You will always cut your fabric double that measurement. So for a 1/2 inch, you cut your fabric 1 inch. For the 1 3/4, you cut your fabric 3.5 inches. Fold in and in, press that first little bit. That allows you to get it into the tool accurate. So we go up and back down. We're now going to pin into the ironing board, and I always pin with the double fork pin. That's a twin pin, and it's going to catch on each side of that fabric so I get equal tension that I won't get with 2 separate pins. And then we're just going to cup up the sides. The tool's designed with a curve here to fit the side of the iron. So the side of the iron is just going to touch that curve, and we're just going to push. And you just keep working down that strip till you get enough completely finished. You do the same with the 1/2 inch one. It is a narrow strip, you know, and if we're going to fold this in and in ourselves and iron it all the way along without any aid like the Sasha tool, we're going to burn our fingers all the way. So to eliminate that, the Sasha tools is probably the best investment you'll ever make because you can use them in every quilt you ever put together. You can use the 2.5 inch wide Sasha strip and use the 1 1/4 inch Sasha tool and fold your binding in half and iron it. So they have lots and lots of uses. So now all we'll do is push with the iron. Notice how I'm cupping up with my fingers just to aid it ahead. And there's my strip already made. So once we've got that done, I'll just come back to this piece. Once I've got the main piece made, the widest piece, we open it up and we cut a piece of our batting that's going to be just a little bit narrower than crease line to crease line. We're going to lay that in and we lay it over. And I use the Hobbs Heirloom double-sided fusible batting, so that allows me just to press that and it adheres. It's not sticky, it doesn't make your quilts go stiff, it's just a beautiful batting to use. Once we've got that done, we then make our little one and put that over the top. And I just glue them in place. So watching the video on Between the Block technique will show you exactly how to join your blocks together and how to put your sashings on top. And you can create a beautiful, beautiful quilt. Like you could make this whatever size you want. You could increase the size of your blocks. You can increase the size of your sashings. And when you get it finished, it's going to look like a normal quilt. And I just find doing our quilts Quilt as you go is such an easy option when you work on a tiny, small machine where you don't have a big bed. It's so easy just to quilt one block at a time and then join it together with our Quilt as you go technique. So I hope you enjoy it. I would love for you to look into making lots of quilts with us, Quilt as you go. So subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that buzzer, or hit the bell, I should say, because that will then notify you every time we put a new video up for you to watch and learn from. And also have a look at our website. We've got some great products on our website. We produce lots of inviting and creative patterns, templates, all sorts of things here at PQW. Our website is www.pqw.com.au. So thanks for watching. Till next time, bye for now.